The camera industry entered 2025 carrying a quiet tension. A pressure born from rapid innovation cycles, escalating creator expectations, and the erosion of long-standing market loyalties. And no company felt this weight more than Canon, as competitors like Sony, Nikon, and Panasonic aggressively recalibrated what photographers and hybrid filmmakers expect from enthusiast and professional, full-frame mirrorless bodies, pushing Canon users into a frustrating dichotomy where choices were binary and costly, split between resolution-centric bodies like the EOS 5 series and speed-dominant flagships, like the EOS 3 series and 1 series. Until now, because the talk surrounding the EOS R4 has shifted rhetoric entirely, moving away from incremental improvements and toward disruption, driven by supply chain whispers, prototype sightings, registered model numbers, antenna configuration changes, and increasingly credible leaks from publications and insiders ranging from regional distributors in the United States to Asia-based manufacturing contacts who hint that Canon is done forcing creators into artificial trade-offs and is instead preparing a convergence device built for a new era where aerial content, wildlife stop-motion frame bursts, spatial interview content, long-duration event work, sports analytics capture, hybrid documentary workflows, AI-augmented post-production pipelines, and high-resolution long-form storytelling will coexist in a single airframe of a body without the unreasonable financial and workflow penalties that have characterized the high end of this market. Because historically Canon never entertained a true middle ground in the flagship conversation and certainly never embraced the number 4 for a camera line until now, signaling a deliberate pivot to challenge the dominant 60-megapixel class made popular by Sony's Sony Bian's XR lineage and Nikon's X-speed processing philosophy. Starting with the rumored heart of the R4, a 60-megapixel stacked backside illuminated CMO sensor that fundamentally redefines Canon's imaging architecture by pairing high pixel density with unprecedented readout speed. Rumored to hit 20 to 30 FPS burst modes with full autofocus and auto-exposure tracking, a spec class usually associated with cinema hybrid flagships like Sony's Sony A1, yet attempted at a far more attainable ecosystem tier, historically priced closer to the EOS R5 and R6 line, but rid with the authority and processing vocabulary of a camera built to capture something like a bald eagle scooping a fish at sunrise or an athlete from the NFL's most intense motion tracking demands, all while retaining enough resolution to allow 200% digital crop for commercial printing, editorial vertical capture, IMAX scale grading, or rapid TikTok short reframing without sacrificing usable pixel integrity. Because Canon is rumored to pair this sensor with its next-gen processor, often described in leaks as the DIG Accelerator X2, a silicon handling approach optimized not just for image crunching but thermal budgeting as well. Stepping away from previous heat-sensitive choke points in 8K RAW capture which notoriously plagued Canon's R5 users in humid or high-sustained production environments. And this change likely exists because Canon sees video mode not as a secondary feature but the commercial battlefield now fought in the United States, where devices are judged first by cinematic and slow-motion competence, supporting rumors that the R4 will include 8K, 6OP internal RAW recording and 4K, 12OP oversampled HQ slow-motion modes stabilized by Canon's improved IBS 3.5 axis mechanical shift system and a new AI inference stabilization engine that may combine gyro, sensor vector analysis, and horizon adaptive subject smoothing, providing gimbal-like handheld footage without resorting to oversized external stabilization rigs or ND stacking plates. And the reason this matters is because hybrid filmmakers are tired of choosing between cinema cameras like Canon's own Canon R5C or Sony's Sony A7RV just to get reliable motion capture, because Canon wants R4 users to run event day interviews, wedding ceremonies, jungle expeditions, wildlife edge case autofocus tests, night sports stadium deliveries, overheating torture trials, and slow-motion 8K vlog capture without camera timeouts or thermal throttling damage. Which is also why leaks suggest a magnesium alloy body slightly larger than the R5 and smaller than the R3. Not for aesthetic excess but passive cooling surface area. Airflow tunnel geometry, heat pipe routing, antenna isolation, and a possible internal blade fin. Exhaust backplane that may restrict hot zone conduction and allow longer sustained video recording in humid climates. Since competing devices like Sony's A7RV run megapixel classes without stacked readout speeds and sports flagships like Sony's A9 III run stacked readouts without 60 megapixel resolution, positioning the R4 uniquely between both segments. And it doesn't end at imaging because connectivity expectations have shifted too, which is why rumors strongly point to the R4 being the first Canon box to offer triple-band Wi-Fi 7 connectivity and Bluetooth 6.1 for faster wireless transfer pipelines, plus improved 5.8 GHz OQ-Sync style RF concepts borrowed from DJI's transmission vocabulary, allowing accelerated 4K, spherical monitoring or long-distance location scouting over wireless without buffering compression errors. But again, Wi-Fi speeds will be affected by router topology, ISP upload and download throughput, RF congestion, local interference laws. And whether you pair the camera with enterprise routers like those from Netgear or SP plans from providers like Comcast. But where Canon wants the R4 to shine even more than connectivity is smart ecosystem integration. Because the R4 is rumored to double as a faster hub for creator workflows using apps, like Canon's own Camera Connect as well as Adobe's post-production pipeline, supporting AI inference not just on camera but in post as well, bridging the gap between creative capture and object-aware neural processing and reducing reliance on third-party modules for optical stabilization. And while competitors like Panasonic shipped better codecs first, Sony shipped better autofocus first and Nikon shipped better EVF resolution first, Canon is tired of chasing and instead wants to unify these priorities into a device where autofocus is not reactive but proactive, powered by deep learning models likely trained on curated motion dictionaries for sports, wildlife morphology, and macro classification, enabling eye tracking that recognizes birds, mammals, amphibians, reptiles, and insects in flight, possibly even identifying tiny high-speed subjects like airborne dragonflies or field subjects like ground foxes in motion, delivering focus priority exactly where needed even in cluttered backgrounds such as dense forests, soccer nets, football field banners, chaotic mapping grids, rainy night stadium lights, or jungle canopy backdrops. Because rumbling strongly suggests that the R4 will revive eye control, which tracks the user's pupil and redirects lens focus exactly where the photographer is looking through Canon's EVF, a feature Canon introduced decades ago and is rumored to ship refined again for perfect tracking. Not only that, but ergonomic leaks show that the dual old touch-enabled controller layout is likely to remain similar to the R5, offering a rotatable 2.1-inch rear touchscreen and a landscape-only front button mapping strategy that may include tactile zoom steps or instant custom shortcuts, solving one of the biggest handling complaints from Pocket 3 users who found zoom controls clumsy, but now refined for enthusiasts who care about cinematic handheld motion without carrying accessories. Because Canon is reportedly targeting a base price similar to Panasonic's GH6 and DJI's Last Action lineup, rumored to launch during Canon's late 2025 global event window and priced just under Sony's A1 class historically, maybe hitting $2,499 or $2,799, depending on internal storage and codec variant choices, positioning it between the price of forward-facing hybrid kits and flagship cinema rigs. But this camera isn't only competing on specs, it's competing on perception. Because Canon users have been living in a world where Sony and Nikon offered disruptive readout speed or sensor resolution first and Canon delivered last. And the conversation now feels different because the R4 isn't being leaked by brand spokespeople but by hands-on sightings in manufacturing tunnels, benchmarking spreadsheets, certified charger prototypes, and controller layouts tested in the US market by early testers, analysts, and regional content creation pilots who suggest the R4 is a mini A1, not because it's smaller in power but smaller in compromise, positioning it uniquely for hybrid creators mixing sports, wildlife, and long-form cinema diaries. And the reason this matters for launch pressure is because 8K RAW capture devices like the R5 were famous for overheating choke points, and Sony's A1 was expensive but thermally controlled. But the R4 is rumored to include a smarter thermal budgeting path using passive magnesium conduction, inhale isolate exhaust airflow routing, and shielded stacked readout circuits that reduce heat damage during long recording sessions in humid climates such as jungles or US stadium productions, giving it broader appeal than niche enthusiast tools and making it more competitive for mainstream creators who want reliability and cinematic lens. And if Canon nails onboard audio, offers refined eye control AF, delivers clean 8K slow motion capture, and improves battery endurance substantially, possibly even offering dual battery or hot swappable battery variants,